Okay, cool. So we'll start this video. And the video is called Swami Sat Marga. That's the name of the guy. 50 days of dry fasting, physical and spiritual aspects. So he starts with the physical aspects. We're not starting right from the beginning, but okay, let's start from here. You can hear already, right? Can you hear?
Yes, I did hear the
Okay,
earlier
okay,
when
good.
you came down.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. So from now on, we are just going to translate, and then we'll discuss it a little bit.
Неплохо. Начал я свою практику с очищения организма.
So he says, I started my preparations for the fasting from cleansing the body.
В предыдущих видео во многих я уже все это рассказывал, но поскольку вопросы все равно продолжают сыпаться, как входить, как выходить, ну, вкратце немножко расскажу, как.
And even though I already mentioned it in my previous videos, but because I have lots of questions, how to enter prolonged fasting, how to get out of it, how to finish it properly, I will mention it again.
Я это делаю.
I will tell you how I do that.
Опять у вас могут быть какие-то свои нюансы, потому что сейчас уже столько разной всякой информации, там кто содой чистится, кто там трансами, кто еще чем-то. Но я любитель такой все-таки классики, и для меня самая основная чистка – это шана-пракшалана.
And of course, you might do some other kind of cleansing, because nowadays there are many systems, but I love classical ways. And for me, the best way is called Shank Prakshalana. It's a yogic practice where you put, it's similar to salt flesh, where you drink salty water, you perform particular exercises, and then the water comes from the other end. And then you do that until the water gets cleaner and cleaner, and then it becomes completely clean. So it is called Shank Prakshalana. He has special video where he shows how to do that.
Что, в общем-то, я и сделал перед началом входа.
And that's exactly what I did when I was about to enter my fast.
То есть пока я не опять выделил себе для входа в очистительный процесс, то есть я сделал 2 пракшаланы и 3 клизмочки. То есть сделал день пракшалана, день клизмы, день пракшалана.
Okay, so I combined this technique of Shank Prakshalana with enemas. So I would do 1 day Shank Prakshalana and 1 day enema. And I think he mentioned he did it during 3 days, but let's see.
Входа, то есть пока я не опять выделил себе для входа в очистительный процесс, то есть я сделал 2 пракшаланы.
No, actually, he talks about 5 days. So twice he did this procedure, Shank Prakshalana, and 3 times enemas.
И 3 клизмочки. То есть сделал день пракшалана, день клизмы, день пракшалана.
And he would do it 1 day, this yogic procedure, and another day enema.
И в тот день, который заканчивался пракшаланом, я еще пил воду. И в конце этого дня, то есть, ну, можно было считать, что начало входа, то есть уже с водой история закончилась на какой-то момент.
Yeah, and on those days when I did this yogic procedure, I also drank water. It was before actually entering the fast.
Сам процесс, как я говорил, проходил, в общем-то, очень мягко, о чем есть видео, которые выложены, в чем вы можете сами убедиться.
So the whole process of my prolonged fast was pretty soft, and I documented quite well on the videos.
И тогда уж, поскольку я немножко сказал про вход, тогда же немножко и про выход.
So now, because I explained to you a little bit how I started this prolonged fasting, I will also tell you a little bit how I finished it.
Как я обычно выхожу? То есть я
So what do I usually do in order to get out of fasting?
беру где-то стаканчик 150-200 грамм ну, в частности, в этот раз березового сока.
So I usually start with a small glass of liquid, about 150 to 200 milliliters. So in this time, I use the birch juice. Birch is a kind of a tree. Birch, it's also called birch sap or birch water. A particular liquid, very, very watery, water-like liquid that comes out of this birch tree. So I took a glass of this birch juice.
И выпиваю его где-то в течение 10-15 минут.
And I drink this juice, this small quantity, 150 to 200 milliliters, in like 10-15 minutes. I drink it.
То есть я делаю небольшой глоточек, рассасываю его в ротовой полости, он всасывается, впитывается еще до глотка даже. Ну, когда...
So I sip a little bit of juice. I start playing with it in my mouth. And I have this impression that it gets absorbed even before I swallow it.
Когда делаешь вот такой небольшой. Вот. Делаешь небольшую паузу, смотришь за ощущениями. То есть...
And then you do a little pause. You observe your feelings.
Это не то, что там хлобыстаешь эту воду или березовый сок.
So you never gulp those liquids.
По сути, как ты соединялся с отказом от еды, так же ты начинаешь соединяться с взаимодействием воды с организмом. То есть ты...
So the same way as you got in touch when you decided to abstain with food, you got in touch emotionally with this abstinence from food. The same way you now get back in touch with this idea of giving your body something external, such as liquids.
Наблюдаешь, что происходит.
And you observe what is happening.
Как ты прямо чувствуешь, как вода начинает всасываться в клеточки, впитываться.
And you can kind of feel that water starts being absorbed by your cells. It starts penetrating the cells.
И вот такой процесс наблюдения.
So that's the process of observation.
Ну, в течение где-то 15 минут выпивалась кружка березового сока.
So in about 15 minutes, I would finish this little glass of birch juice.
И следующее выпивалось, соответственно, где-то через час.
And then about an hour after that, I would do the same with another glass.
Ну, буквально через 2-3 кружки я понимал уже, что даже мне особо больше как-то уже и не лезло.
And after 2 or 3 times like that, after 2 or 3 glasses, I would understand that it was enough.
Вот, но тем не менее, следуя своим традициям, я все-таки продолжал насыщаться, потому что понимал, что надо организм немножко запускать.
But nevertheless, I did continue to drink more because I understood that I need to kind of kick in the different processes in the organism to start operating my organism again in terms of food intake.
Вот. И в течение первого дня, то есть где-то через час, я пил по стаканчику березового сока. Ну,
So during the first day, every hour more or less, I would drink this small glass of this particular liquid.
стакан у меня там даже не 200 грамм, там, наверное, грамм 170 он, может быть, был.
And each glass was even less than 200 gram or 200 milliliters. It was maybe 170 milliliters.
Второй день, когда я уже не по времени, не регламентированно выходил, по-моему, мне даже показалось, что пил я намного меньше.
And on the second day, I had an impression when I didn't have this idea of turning my body on. I had an impression that I drank even less on the second day.
Поскольку, то, что я говорил, не особо, в общем-то, пить и хотелось.
Because I didn't really want to drink.
Но, тем не менее, начинался семинар, надо было общаться с людьми, и Чтобы голос сильно не просаживался, включался режим питья.
But nevertheless, I would also drink because I was about to start my seminar and I had to talk to the people. So in order for my voice not to be affected too much, I continued drinking on the second day as well.
И так в течение 10 дней я потихонечку попивал березовый сачок, который и сейчас до сих пор еще идет. Немножко, но еще идет.
So during the first 10 days after fast, I would just drink this birch juice.
Вот, и постепенно, в общем-то, организм наполнялся влагой.
And gradually, my organism was saturated by liquids.
Как я говорил, я ожидал, что намного быстрее будет набор веса. В этот раз вот он происходил так очень незначительно.
And as I said, my expectation was that I would gain weight faster. But this time, it was not, the gaining of weight was not really significant. It didn't go as fast as I expected.
Ну, еще раз говорю, что, может быть, я пил меньше, чем обычно на выходе.
Maybe it was because I drank less than usual when I finished my fast.
То же самое, когда я уже начал взаимодействовать с питанием. Сначала себе сделал капустное смузи.
And it's the same thing when I got in touch with this idea of eating solid foods. So first of all, I prepared a cabbage smoothie.
Такая весьма не очень вкусная составляющая, да, то есть так я капусточку люблю, но в смузи как-то вот она не очень идет.
It's not really delicious. Like I do love eating cabbage, but in smoothie, not the best.
Но тем не менее запускается пищеварительный процесс.
But nevertheless, it kicks in this digesting process. It turns it on.
Процесс, заканчиваются все процессы очищения.
Yeah, it kind of ends all the processes of cleansing.
Поскольку уже начинает поступать питание.
Because you start eating again.
И какое-то время я вот нахожусь уже на таком, можно назвать, жидком питании, поскольку в большей степени идет смузи.
So for some time now, I have been on liquid diet, lots of smoothies,
в которые включены овощи, фрукты,
with different vegetables, different fruit,
ягоды,
berries.
Вот, и делаю иногда еще ореховое молочко из разных.
And also, every now and then, I prepare nut milks by myself.
Разных видов орех, и замачивая, делаю молоко, чтобы не грызть их так, потому что.
So I soak different kinds of nuts, and then I prepare milk out of them, because
Даже как-то и грызть особо ничего не хочется.
Because I don't really want to eat them just like that.
Вот, а питаешься таким больше, ну, можно назвать жидким питанием.
So I might say that I am on liquids right now, liquid nutrition.
Дальше посмотрим, как оно будет происходить.
And then in the future we will see how things will unfold.
Посмотрим за набором веса. Вот, но пока самочувствие
I will observe my gaining of weight.
Очень неплохое.
But for now I feel really well.
Такое, я бы назвал пободрее, чем был, когда я без еды и без воды.
I feel more energy and more alert in comparison to the time when I was without food and without water.
По физической, по крайней мере, нагрузке, то есть.
At least also in terms of physical strength.
Более стала проявляться какая-то активность.
Yeah, so now I'm more active physically as well. Okay, so that was the first part that I wanted to go over. Then the second part, we are skipping a little bit. And then we are going to the second part that I chose for today. Just a moment.
Очень часто в сообщениях пишут, спрашивают, где у нас тут все это происходит.
Okay, so people often ask me where in which location do I fast?
Потому что, ну, видно на съемках, что в большей степени все это происходит на природе, а не в городах.
Because you can notice in different videos that I make that there is lots of nature around.
В городских условиях несколько раз я снимал, когда я ехал в город на анализы, а так в большей степени вот здесь озеро как раз начинает таять.
So we have a lake here, and the ice starts melting now.
То есть бобры уже повылезали.
So you can see beavers.
То есть все это происходит на природе. И даже в каком-то комментарии я
So it's all happening in nature.
кому-то написал, что вряд ли бы я на такие длительные сроки пошел бы в городских условиях.
And I mentioned in one of my replies to the comments that I had received that I'm in doubt if I could do if I would do the same thing living in the city.
При жизни в социуме.
Living in the city, living in the society.
Поскольку у меня здесь жизнь такая очень тихая, в очень расслабленной, мягкой форме я существую.
Because my life here is very soft, very quiet, very relaxed.
И, наверное, это мне и дает, в общем-то, силы проводить все эти, ну, условно говоря, скажем так, эксперименты над собой.
And probably it is one of the main factors that allows me to make those experiments on myself.
С этим телом.
With this body.
Когда все это происходит мягко на природе, в таком очень позитивном ключе.
Yeah, so it's important that it all happens in a very, very soft way, in nature, very positively.
В городе с этими машинами, с загазованностью, со стрессами, с Wi-Fi, я не знаю, насколько я бы смог, потому что я даже когда приезжаю в город.
And in the city, with all this pollution, Wi-Fi, noise, I don't know if I would be able to do that even.
Ну, у меня иногда ноздри аж как слепаться начинаются.
Because every now and then, when I find myself in the city, my nostrils kind of get stuck together.
Настолько вот запах, который в городе отличается от того, что происходит здесь. Потом, конечно,
So the different smells of the city, they're completely different from the smells in nature.
Адаптируется тоже, привыкает.
Of course, there is this adaptation process after some time.
Но первое время, конечно, и шумовая нагрузка довольно-таки сильная, хотя.
But during the first period of time, also there is lots of noise.
Вот в этот раз, когда я приезжал, когда уже.
But this time when I got to the city and it was quarantine because of the COVID-19, then everything was quiet and I really enjoyed it.
Был карантин. Мне, конечно, очень понравилось, что в городе было довольно-таки тихо, было мало машин, людей. То есть чем-то это слегка и отдаленно напоминало состояние нашей природы.
Yeah. So at that time, it was a little bit similar to the state of nature.
Нахожусь я в Карелии, где-то 220 километров от Питера.
So I live in a place called Karelia, a little bit more than 200 kilometers from St. Petersburg.
Сейчас стала очень неплохая дорога, и добраться можно довольно-таки быстро. Раньше мы сюда добирались 5-6 часов, эта дорога была не самая лучшая. Много было грунтовых дорог, извилистых путей, ограничительных знаков 40, то есть.
Yeah, so we can get here relatively fast now with the new roads. Okay, so that was the second thing that I chose, just about the importance of nature and fasting in nature.
3 часа, в общем-то.
Okay, and now we are going to the third episode.
Марго, скажи, пожалуйста, ты вот проводишь программы голодания в медитации.
Okay, and then she asks him, okay, so please tell me, so your programs and your retreats are called fasting in meditation.
Почему именно в медитации? Разве не может быть просто там отказ от еды без всякой медитации?
So why meditation? Why can't a person just abstain from food without any meditation?
Это первый вопрос. И
So that's the first question. And the second one,
второй, обычно на випассане, на других твоих программах, в темном ретрите, люди всегда имеют возможность поголодать. То есть это как-то связано между собой? Вот.
so and usually so my second question, during your retreats, whether it's Vipassana retreat, like Vipassana meditation retreat or a darkroom retreat, people always have this opportunity to fast. So are those things related to each other?
Духовные программы и отказы от еды, или
So are those spiritual programs related to the abstinence from food?
это просто вот совпадение такое?
Or it's just coincidence?
Ну, это не совпадение,
No, it's definitely not coincidence.
поскольку я то, чем занимаюсь, приношу свой опыт.
Because I put my experience in what I'm doing.
И когда я начинал, первое, что я увидел, когда человека лишают еды, у него как бы слегка выбивают почву из-под ног. То есть
And what I could observe when I just started is that when a person abstains from food, it's like you don't have solid ground under your feet anymore.
то, к чему он привык, то, к чему он был привязан, его этого лишают, и
Because everything you were used to, you were really attached to, you abstain from that.
он пытается чем-то это заменить.
And then there is a process when you try to substitute it for something, to substitute food for something else.
И иногда это сделать довольно-таки сложно. То есть та привычка, та зависимость, ну не побоюсь слова, наркотическая от еды, от питания, которая присутствует в человеке, может вызвать в нем довольно-таки сильный стресс.
And every now and then it is quite difficult to do because this addiction, kind of drug addiction to food, when a person abstains from food, it might cause quite a stress in the person.
И как я говорил, что один и тот же элемент отказа от еды может как оздоравливать и улучшать состояние и психическое, и духовное, так и разрушать.
So the same process of abstaining from food might in some people have cause real improvement in different spheres, but in other people it might cause some kind of destructive process.
В каком состоянии вы будете находиться?
So it depends in which state you are while doing it.
Если вы включаете в аспект отказа от еды состояние медитативности,
and if you include meditation and meditation state in the process of abstinence from food,
то вы заменяете вот эту потребность в чем-то необходимом в виде питания, каких-то вкусов, какой-то, ну иногда даже бывает и развращенности этих вкусовых, вы заменяете, наверное, на самое главное, что в жизни вообще происходит.
So when you bring in this meditation and meditative state, then you actually substitute your addiction to food with all its tastes, different kinds of tastes. You substitute it with something that is the most important thing in life.
На знакомство с самим собой.
To get acquainted with yourself.
И поверьте, что это намного вкуснее всех этих пищевых включений, добавок.
And believe me, it's much more delicious than all different food-related aspects, different tastes, for example.
И когда вы переключаетесь на самопознание, вы открываете там такие перспективы, такие горизонты, такие чудеса, что еда просто уходит, улетает на какие-то очень дальние планы.
And when you switch to this process of self-inquiry, of self-knowing, then you discover there are such depths, such huge horizons that food just gets pushed away automatically. Doesn't have much influence on you anymore.
И вы уже не думаете, что хорошо бы там поесть или как бы повкуснее где-то поесть или
And you stop thinking in terms of, wow, I would like to eat something, I would like delicious food now,
побольше.
I would like lots of food.
То есть тот интерес, который вы проявляли к еде, он перетекает в проявление жизни.
So that interest that you had for food now gets transformed into some kind of expression of life.
Интерес, который вы проявляли к еде, он перетекает в проявление жизни. Как вы проявляетесь в жизни, как жизнь проявляется через вас.
So it becomes you expressing yourself in life, or life expressing yourself through you.
По сути, идет такой процесс очень интересный, самопознание, исследование.
So, and this process of self-inquiry, self-knowing is very, very interesting.
То, что кто-то называет духовным поиском, можно назвать это медитацией. Да.
Some people call it a spiritual search. Other people call it meditation.
Когда убираются какие-то суждения, оценки, когда тело и ум становятся очень расслаблены.
When you get rid of your judgments, your evaluations, when the body and the mind become really relaxed.
И из этого состояния принятия и абсолютного покоя ты наблюдаешь просто, что да, в этот момент я нахожусь еще и без питания.
And out of this state of relaxation, of absolute acceptance of things, you simply observe, wow, I am without food now.
Поскольку здесь у нас нет особой связи, особого интернета, то здесь человек на какое-то время, да, уходит, можно назвать в ретрит. Ретрит в переводе означает уединение.
And because here where I live, we don't really have lots of communication means, such as the internet, cellular communication. Because of that, people go into retreat here.
Чтобы побыть наедине с самим собой.
In order to be with themselves.
Часто, в тех же городских условиях, да, любое свободное время человек употребляет в угоду своим вкусовым, пищевым каким-то привязанностям, или материальным, или развлекательным.
Yeah, so usually in cities, virtually every moment people consume, being it food, being it different satisfaction, different things to satisfy their appetites in other areas, their financial needs.
Здесь же мы больше все-таки исследуем не только тему отказа от еды, да, то есть это, в общем-то, все второй план.
But here we are actually researching not just abstinence from food. That's secondary.
Здесь самое главное у нас идет взаимодействие с познанием самого себя.
The most important thing is knowing ourselves here.
И хотим мы или нет, при отказе от еды у нас меняется частота, вибрация нашего состояния.
And whether we want it or not, when we abstain from food, our vibrational frequency gets changed.
Конечно, если у вас все это проходит в сильном негативе, страдании, то эти вибрации могут и понизиться. Да?
Of course, if you are suffering, if you are very negative, in your case, those vibrations might even become lower.
Даже, да? Вот. Но тем не менее, если человек все-таки как-то хоть немножко идет в духовности и
But if a person strives, walks towards spiritual heights,
включает этот аспект отказа от еды,
and brings in this aspect of abstinence from food,
то у него как бы идет некое усиление, как катализатор срабатывает.
then it becomes, it actually strengthens his vibrations.
И одно помогает другому. То
And one thing helps the other.
есть отказ от питания помогает внутренним процессам,
Abstinence of food helps different inner processes.
поскольку ни на что не отвлекаешься, и ты видишь, что ты можешь находиться без того, без чего раньше считал не можешь находиться.
Because then there is no distraction. You can see that you can actually manage and live without something that you were thinking that you wouldn't be able to live.
Вот. И также состояние медитативности помогает переживать все вот эти отказы от еды, от воды.
But on the other hand, this meditative state helps you live through this abstaining from food, from water.
Поскольку ты исследуешь не свои страдания, да, а ты исследуешь какую-то радость жизни, независимо от того, что тебя окружает.
Because the object of your research becomes some kind of quality of life that is happening there, like the happiness of life, that is happening there regardless of whatever is happening on the outside.
И от страданий может быть в том числе.
Including suffering, including, this happy quality of life that is not dependent even on your suffering.
То есть ты видишь, что начинает страдать без еды.
So you are able then to observe what suffers without food. What is that?
Когда ты видишь, что страдает, по сути, только твои привязанности, твои привычки, твои программы.
And then you can see that what suffers actually is your habits, your programs.
Ты начинаешь познавать себя и говоришь: Господи, это что? Это я и есть эта программа?
And then you kind of tell to yourself, how come? Am I this particular programming, this particular pattern?
И у людей иногда происходит целый внутренний переворот, то есть они
And lots of people go through this inner revolution.
начинают каким-то образом познавать себя и видят, чем они являются.
So they start getting acquainted more with themselves, and then they start to observe what are they.
Я не часто рассказываю об этом, в общем-то, на камеру, поскольку, почему-то, как ни странно, людей больше интересует вот именно отказы от еды.
I don't mention all these aspects very often in my videos because somehow people are more interested in this aspect of abstinence from food.
Не знаю, у кого-то для здоровья, у кого-то там для рекордов, у кого-то еще для чего-то.
Some people for their health, some people to set a record.
Но это просто сопутствующие элементы отказа от еды.
But this abstinence from food is secondary. It's a kind of addition to that.
То есть тоже Иисус, в общем-то, он отказывался от еды не для видеозаписи, видеосъемки, не для рекордов, да, не для улучшения здоровья.
So, for example, Jesus was abstaining from food not to record the video or not to improve his health.
Разбирался с искушениями.
But in order to be more able to resist temptations.
А еда – это одно из наибольших искушений.
And food is one of the main temptations.
Еда, отношения, или отношения с той же едой – это самое сильное искушение.
Relationship with food is the strongest temptation.
И раз уж вспомнил, тоже был какой-то комментарий, что ты побил рекорд Иисуса Христа.
And then I also received a comment that which said, "You beat the record of Jesus Christ."
Вот. Я так слегка внутренне поморщился,
And then I cringed a little bit innerly.
поскольку я не думаю, что Христос хотел ставить каких-то рекордов.
Because I really don't think that Jesus wanted to set a record.
В своем отказе от еды и, скорее всего, и от воды.
By his abstinence from food and most of the chances from water as well.
Вот. И точно так же у меня нет желания побивать чьи-то рекорды.
And in the same way, I have no desire to compete with anyone, to compete, to overcome someone else's records.
И кого-то там затыкать за пояс, переплевывать. Это
Be better than others.
совершенно не об этом.
It's absolutely not about that.
И такое появляется небольшое сожаление, что вот все, о чем я рассказываю, все, что со мной происходит, люди часто воспринимают совершенно с другой позиции.
And it's a real pity that oftentimes people interpret things that I say absolutely in a wrong way.
Они почему-то видят в этом какой-то или выпендрёж, или многие пишут, ты тут просто хайпуешь на этом, или еще что-то. Но я уже на такие комментарии даже особого внимания не обращаю, поэтому не обижайтесь те, кому я в YouTube там или где-то не отвечаю, поскольку я очень редко захожу туда, и все эти комментарии мне не очень интересны. По сути, я просто делюсь своими состояниями, своими переживаниями.
So people interpret it as if I wanted to show up or to gain something material, but I'm just sharing my states.
И, как я говорил, это не для рекордов, это не для какого-то там хайпа или еще чего-то. Плюс также, что хотел отметить, что многие пытаются из меня сделать какого-то супергероя.
So I'm not doing it to set a record or something like that. And also, I would like to point out that many people try to kind of regard me as a superhero.
Еще человека с железной силой воли.
Someone who has tremendous willpower.
Это тоже не соответствует истине.
But it's not true.
То есть это все делается на абсолютном расслаблении.
Because all this is happening out of absolute relaxation.
На абсолютном принятии.
Absolute acceptance.
Если бы я вот эти дни сидел и каждый день напрягался бы и думал, я еще день выдержу, я сильный, я смогу, я всем докажу.
If I had this idea every day that I need to persist another day in order because I want to prove things to other people.
Я не знаю, я бы, наверное, разрушился бы очень давно.
I probably would have destroyed myself a long time ago.
Вот. Но для меня это просто, как некая игра, может быть.
But for me, it's a kind of a game.
Как часть этой жизни, игривости этой жизни.
It's a part of playfulness of this life.
Вот. Кто-то играет в карты, да, кто-то играет в казино.
People play different things, cards, different gambling, etc.
Играю вот в такие истории.
But I play in with those matters.
Которые, нельзя сказать, что сейчас уже помогают как-то познать себя, да. Мне просто стало легко идти в эти все эксперименты после уже познания себя.
And I cannot say now, from my experience, that these experiments help me get to know myself better. But it was much easier for me. It is much easier for me now to get involved in those experiments after knowing myself first.
Потому что прежде всего, конечно, исчез страх смерти, страх исчезновения вот этого физического тела.
Because first of all, this fear of death has gone. The fear of losing this physical body.
И когда ты идешь в эти эксперименты без страха, снимается целый пласт какой-то нагрузки.
And when you enter these kind of experiments without this fear, then this whole layer of effort gets eradicated.
Поэтому все, что здесь происходит, это происходит на расслаблении, на принятии и в очень позитивном состоянии.
And therefore, everything that is happening here is based upon relaxation, acceptance, and
Это происходит на расслаблении, на принятии и в очень позитивном состоянии.
And in a very positive state.
Я не собираюсь там уморить себя голодом, там
I have no intention to die from hunger,
умертвить,
to kill myself,
или еще что-то с собой такое сделать.
do something else, do anything else with myself.
Я не пытаюсь стать там каким-то праноедом или автономом или еще кем-то, это тоже.
And I don't have even the plans to be a pranic person, to be nourished by prana, only by prana.
Не входит в мою задачу. В мою задачу вообще мало чего входит.
To tell you the truth, I don't have too many goals.
Если честно говоря. Я просто исследую состояние, вот как оно проявляется на каких-то сроках без отказа, ну, с отказом, вернее, от еды, от воды.
I'm just researching different states, how they present themselves, how they get expressed when you abstain from water and from food for certain periods of time.
И смотрю, что происходит.
So I'm just looking what is happening there.
Как оно добавляет каких-то состояний, потому что действительно.
And how it adds particular experiences, this abstinence from food and water, how it adds you different experiences.
Физиология меняется довольно-таки сильно.
Because your physiology gets changed quite a lot.
И со сменой физиологии меняется гормональный фон.
And then your hormonal balance, your hormones gets changed.
Меняется и, конечно, внутреннее состояние. То есть человек становится.
Your inner states change.
Становится все более и более тихий.
Because the person becomes more and more quiet.
И так-то я не могу сказать, что в жизни довольно-таки громко я как-то себя выражаю.
In general, I cannot say that I express myself very, very loudly in life.
Особенно, когда здесь никого нету.
Especially when there are no people around.
И находишься практически в полном уединении.
So, and I find myself in a kind of secluded space.
И вот в такие моменты отказа от еды, они дают такой некий бонус. Поэтому.
So those moments of food, of abstinence from food, provide you with a particular bonus.
Для меня вот эти все вещи – это не страдания, не мучения.
So for me, all those things are not suffering, not torture.
Это я воспринимаю просто как некую возможность еще что-то получить от жизни.
And I see it as another opportunity to get more from life, to get something else from life. Okay, guys, so I will stop the recording.
Of salt flushes,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you tend to retain water. And then, it's very unpleasant because I have drank salt solution and it's just, trying to get that down. There are less unpleasant ways of cleansing your bowels.
Yes.
Okay. Drink 24 or more ounces of pear juice and you'll get the same effect. It's going to taste better. You don't need to do exercises. Yeah, you'll be on the toilet for a while, but it's going to clean you out just as well. So this is my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, yeah, so in the beginning he was talking about that. Then he mentioned that he finished he's fasting with birch juice or birch sap. Like, what is the right name in English for that? Is it birch juice or birch water? Like, how do they call it?
Birch water, I
Birch
believe.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rory, have you ever tried it in South Africa? Do they have something like that?
Birch water? No, I've never tried it. I was quite curious as to what it would taste like and why he drank it.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it's delicious. I remember growing up in Russia, they would sell it in grocery stores. You know, you could just buy a glass of it.
Is
And
it sweet?
yeah, it's a kind of sweetish. It's a little bit sweet, yeah, but it's not excessively sweet. Do they have it in States, by the way, by Ivana?
I have seen it before at Whole Foods a couple of years ago, but I haven't seen it since.
Ah, okay. Because here in Israel they do sell it, but they import it from Russia, and it contains added sugar with it, and I don't want to buy it because of that, because of the added
Because
sugar.
it's processed, yeah.
Yeah, but I would love to.
I mean, listen, you can go into the woods if you know where to find some birch trees and just scrape some bark off and collect the sap. You can do that.
Yeah, it's also possible. Yeah, but I think that you cannot obtain it all year round. I think that there is certain.
Right.
Yeah. Do they have birch trees in South Africa, Rory?
I think they do. It's not a common tree though. Yeah.
Okay.
Certainly nobody knows about birch water, that's for sure.
Yes. And then after that, he actually mentioned the spiritual aspects of fasting. So, Rory, how was it for you? Did you get anything from what he said?
Yes, big time. It's always lovely to hear people, speak from their own personal experience, eh? And obviously he's had quite a unique experience. So for me, the things that stood out were, that it's just more of a spiritual process than giving up food, which I thought was really relevant.
Yeah.
I kind of get lost in this process of healing and all that, but then it's very nice just to be reminded that at the end of the day it's more about getting in touch with yourself and your higher self.
Yeah.
So I thought that spoke to me a lot.
Yeah. I could relate to that as well. Ivana, so from your experience, how what is the balance between all this healing aspect and the spiritual aspect of fasting? Like, how would you define spiritual aspect of fasting?
Well, you have to understand that removing food automatically moves you out of the physical dimension and physical space to an extent. Because food is grounding, right? This is what we do to suppress, to sort of bring us back down to earth. Food makes our bodies more dense. So you remove food, you automatically start to expand.
Right.
And this is, what I tell people who are interested in the pranic living. It's not about food, stupid. It's about stepping out of the physical attachment, and then food is basically the last vestige of that. You understand? Because we can all meditate, we can have out-of-body experiences, but as long as we eat, we're still tied very much to the physical dimension. We're dependent on it to sustain us. But when you step outside of that, then you're more consuming, absorbing higher vibration frequencies, and they're the ones that sustain you. But what's important is that you cannot do this and you cannot move through the process if you have a mental imbalance, if you have a lot of negative emotional aspects that you have not healed or worked through, because all of that is going to come up. It's going to hit you like a wave and knock you down on your ass if you have not done that work.
Yes.
Because when you don't eat and you are moved up vibrationally, everything that's incompatible with that higher energy is brought up to the surface. And then you either deal with it or you break the fast, because you have to bring yourself back down. And I have had that where I think that was my 9-day fast, where I just couldn't stand being in my body. I was clawing at my body, wanted to get out. It becomes extremely difficult. And it's not the hunger, it's none of that. You have this indescribable discomfort of being. And you don't know how to scratch that itch.
Yes.
So, the more you, and I don't know if he talked about this specifically in this video, but I've watched many of his videos. He talks about that the more you fast and make it a permanent part of your practice, the more foods and desires, physical desires, begin to fall away. You naturally no longer are attracted to certain things, substances. Right. It changes your perspective. You're no longer attracted to certain ways of manifesting in the world. This is, getting off the hamster wheel of making money, success, and it sort of falls away. You
Right.
start to see things much differently. You become kinder, you become softer, you become more empathetic.
I've definitely noticed that even just on a liquid diet, somehow my experience with people's, like, when I visit friends or even dealing with business, I'm able to intuit a lot more clearer, and connect with people in a much more profound way. And I don't know what it is, other than maybe, like Ivana's saying, you almost shed an old reality in a way, and you go into a more subtler space. And it becomes more rewarding, more profound, and people respond to you differently. It's kind of interesting. It's something I'm just feeling my way into, but it's something that's very, very exciting.
Yes, absolutely, because your emanations change. Everything becomes more subtle, and people feel it even unconsciously. I can also relate to that from my experience. Yeah.
And not just that, you start seeing things more clearly. Things that used to be important to you, all of a sudden you go, this isn't important at all. This is a silly thing. This competitiveness, this thing about being better than somebody else, it just falls away.
Yeah, absolutely. Frederick, how are you, Frederick? Can you hear?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to
I'm
have
doing well.
you. Yeah, it's great to have you fasting with us again, because you haven't been fasting with the group for some time, right? At least you haven't presented yourself.
Yes, I am back. I am back.
Yeah.
Actually, I did I just during the week about 48 hours again, and I did another one for 24 hours, and today I'm with you again. So I'm back to the normal routine. Yes.
Yes, that is wonderful. So how did you like the video?
Actually, I joined late. That's why I'm been just following what you are saying. But the part of salt flash, for me, I did it once. Trying to do it another time, it didn't work again. The way it worked the first time I did it, and I stopped doing it for good, actually. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think I go with the Ivana's idea. Of, not using it, because once I used it, it really worked.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Could you please talk to the microphone, because it was fine, but then after that it got very, very unclear. Frederick?
I'm sorry, my network is quite unstable. My network.
Yeah, now it's fine.
It's quite unstable, so maybe I'll stop at that point.
Yeah, no, now it's fine. Now we can hear you.
Okay. I was saying, initially when I started the dry fast, that is about how many years ago? 2014. That's the time I did the salt flash. But after that, I've never done it again. I did it once, tried the second time, didn't work, so I stopped. So I always don't do
Mm-hmm.
the salt flash. And again, the part of the spiritual, actually, that is the very most important thing with the dry fasting. Because
Yes.
immediately again, you contact the spiritual world very easily. You can even tell this. You can even tell what is in somebody else's heart or mind, especially those people who are close to you, those people who you interact with one on one. And sometimes, as for me, I also see some dreams that are very accurate about maybe future events or other things, or about the issues of life. Like the time Trump was to be the first time Trump was to be the president. Before that time they were contesting with Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
4 months before election, I got a clear dream that he's the one who's going to win, and that was during the time of the fasting. So it's true, it happens.
Yes.
When you dry fast, you go very close spiritually. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, Frederick, I think that you have really mastered this art of combining fasting with your regular life, because you have family obligations, you have work, right? And you're still fasting. So could you give few tips about how to, because this guy, he's doing prolonged fast, but in nature. He lives in nature, and I don't know if he probably doesn't have family and things like that. But in your case, you're in life. So could you share some of insights about this subject?
I really so yeah. I really want to be like him. I also want to be in the nature and do a very long fast like he does. Actually, I want to challenge myself to do as long as my body can take.
Yes.
But these are the ones that we do when we are working or when we are with fasting. If you are a married person, no sex during that time. It will drain you to.
Frederick, we cannot hear you again. Let's see.
So
So
you
so
don't
I
have that.
no
Okay.
I think now
The
it's
other
fine.
thing. Can you
So
hear me?
you mentioned no sexual relationships while fasting, because it will drain you,
Yes.
right? That's what
In
you
the
said.
time of fasting.
Okay.
Yes.
That's an important subject.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
right. And something else, you don't expose yourself so much to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do. You don't go into the sun so much. You just a few. I don't know. I don't have a maximum time,
Yes.
but don't expose yourself so much into the sun. But you just go on with your normal duty without a problem. So I don't know, but that is for me. As for me, just do it normally. Though I want that one of the nature, because sometimes I've also been going to the mountains to fast, and I've not gone so far, so many days because of the things that I still didn't know that I'm now knowing now. I've been learning them from these videos. I think you have been doing a very great job of translating from the Russian man. Yeah.
Thank you.
So yeah, that one of nature I think can take as many days as the body will be able to bear. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys. And Angela, we haven't heard from you yet. Can you say hello if you are hearing, if you are listening? Angela?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, absolutely. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I appreciate everything that you've shared, and I appreciate everybody's comments. I just always have to mute because I have 3 kids in the house always talking.
Okay. Good. Could you share a few thoughts in relation
Yes,
to the video or whatever you want?
I am totally inspired because he is right. A lot of times everybody focuses on just the the dry aspect, like, the food and stuff. But for me, with what I've learned through my experiences, I've only done like, as much as I can, but I feel like it's more mental, and it's more like, getting through those 10 minutes of thinking like you have to have something, and then you're like, okay, the whole day screwed up. anyways. So it's kind of like, you know, when you can be in prayer or be in meditation or be in affirmation or whatever your technique is to keep your mind focused,
Right.
you realize that it's more about shedding like the mental heaviness.
Right.
That's what I took from it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Very interesting. Okay, guys, does anyone want to share anything else?
I wanted to share my recent experience.
Yes, sure.
Something new that's happened as a result of my dry fasting.
Uh-huh.
I went hiking a few days ago, and I was hiking maybe 5-6 hours and a total of 7.7 miles. And because it was in the mountain, it was like 80. Let me just, because I don't want to lie, let me look at my
Okay.
at my screenshot how many flights of stairs that
Okay.
represented. And the whole time I did not take a single sip of water.
Mm.
I did not feel thirsty. I felt no need for it. And, you know, when I was with a friend, she was chugging the water. So it was the equivalent of 76 floors and 19,261 steps.
Wow.
So, which is a long time. And it's summer, you know, so it is hot. I felt no thirst. I felt no need for water at all. And I did not drink until I got home.
Wow. And was it something that you had decided before doing it, or it was just a spontaneous decision?
I brought water with me. I brought my camelback full of water. I had 64 ounces of water on me, carrying it all day.
Okay.
I had woken up and I didn't have anything to drink before because we got up early to go early into the mountains, and there was like a 2-hour drive. So I didn't drink.
Yes.
At all till I got home at around 4:30, 4:45. I got home.
Yes.
So I, you know, since the fast the night, got up in the morning, went hiked in the sun, 7.7 miles. All right, not drinking a single drop. Got home after a 2-hour drive, and that's when I started to drink my coconut water and juice. And I felt perfectly, and I had so much energy.
Wow.
I did not feel tired, and it was a first for me. Because normally you go hiking, you drink, you're constantly sipping water, you're going up because you're sweating. None of that.
Wow. Thank you very much for sharing, Ivana. That's really inspiring. Yeah. Ivana, I wanted to ask you if you have inquired into the amount of we were just discussing it with Rory before starting the video. How much liquid can our body process in a day safely in terms of the capacity of kidneys, and how much liquid a day and how much per hour that is safe amount in terms of not overloading the kidneys? Do you have any information about that?
I do not. I've never thought about it in terms of a certain amount of liquid per hour. I think that the body has a pretty good gauge. I mean, I don't think that you can overdo it unless people are going out of their way. There were instances of people dying from water consumption, but because they were participating in these stupid contests where whoever can drink the most water, right? But if you're just going with, I am thirsty right now, I'm going to drink, there's no way you can hurt yourself. Now, if you are extremely acidic, then you should not be water fasting or be on a juice feast, okay? Because the body is going to hold on to that water, right? So if you have lung problems, that's another thing. But if you don't have any of these issues, just drink intuitively.
Yes.
There's no danger in that sense unless you're trying to overdo it intentionally, because you know, you can drink. When I was on a liquid diet, I was drinking 3 to 4 servings of about 24 ounces.
Okay, so just to reiterate, so for someone who is acidic, is it advised to go on a juice fast or not? Because
No.
the connection
No.
wasn't so good, so I couldn't.
Well, it depends, because look, my legs are extremely acidic, lots of uric acid, but going on a juice fast for me was okay. But if somebody has lung problems, this is especially a warning sign here, because the body's going to pull water into those areas that are most acidic, you see. So you're going to experience swelling. Now, as you continue on your solid food vacation, you start to clean things out, it's going to balance out. The only warning that I would heed is lungs, because your lungs fill up with water, it's a huge issue.
Okay.
And also, if you tend to be on the acidic side where you retain water, then go with fruit juices that are really diuretic, like pear or watermelon. And in this case, I would mix pear with something else, because again, if you do straight pear, it could give you diarrhea. But a watermelon juice, which is a really strong diuretic, is going to keep you going all the time. Also, if you have really weak kidneys, you may want to reconsider a juice fast or a water fast. You know, there's a balance to be had, but it depends on the degree of involvement of your kidneys.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Because people can get what they perceive as a kidney infection or urinary infection. What in fact is happening is that the body is starting to unload those acids, and yes, it's unpleasant, but you have to go through that process, and people just get scared about it.
Yes. Yes, that's right. That's right. Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. So I also recorded our conversation now, so I hope you don't mind. I will just connect it together with the video, and then we'll put it for everyone get inspired. So it will be there on YouTube, right? You don't mind, right? Because I just didn't tell you, so I want to get clear that it's also, yeah. Okay, cool. And okay, guys. So, yes, Frederick. Want to say something?
I just wanted to say, Eric, thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. Yes, I'm saying thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
And Ivana, you are an inspiration. Yes, Ivana, you are an inspiration. And you challenge me so much. You challenge me so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you. I mean, look, there's so many people in this group who are an inspiration. For example, yes, I may dry fast, but I could never imagine doing what Arik is doing, which being a year on nothing but juices. To me, that's mind-boggling. I go, wow, I can't imagine he's doing this. So everybody is different. We're all amazing in our own way. You know, it's important that you find the love and the beauty within yourself, what you're able to do, and not compare yourself to other people. And I think this is what Sat Marga really is trying to drive home in this video and all his other videos. Fasting is not about ego. It's not about being better or, you know, out fasting somebody else. This is about a relationship with yourself. And it's about self-discovery, because this is what fasting has done for me. I don't know about other people, but you really learn your limitations. You learn what's possible for you. And you get to look deeper within yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to add that it's a constant process. We were just discussing it with Rory before the video, that it's a constant process. For example, yeah, for me, it's going to be, it's been now 11 months on liquids, not just juices, but different other kinds of liquids as well. And I told him that I'm still looking for my balance, you know, in relation to the fasting window, in relation to the quantities, in relation to the types of drinks, you know. So it's never ending process, because what I started with in the beginning, now that I guess I am into this process, there is some refinement that has been going on. So now it would be something different. So you're always balancing out, and it's a beauty of this process, because it's, you know, it's kind of a process of constant discovery, constant refinement, cleansing, you know, on different levels, not just physical level. And it's amazing. It's amazing, you know, that it's a gift that we have all received.
Yeah. Do
Oh,
you plan on staying liquidarian, or you haven't decided yet?
For now, I don't think about getting back to solid foods, because I think that in this liquidarian state there is lots of potential that I still haven't discovered, and and I still have a long way to go to really stabilize in this state, to have enough energy, to have enough mental clarity. So I still have my challenges, so and quite a lot of them. But on the other hand, I understand that in this liquidarian state there is lots of potential, and I really want to uncover it. So for now, I'm not thinking about going back to solid foods, but in the future, I don't know. I don't know.
Now, I've always wanted to ask you, have you experienced any healing crises? Or has it been just, I feel normal, I feel good? Are there ups and downs in this journey for you physically? Because we never really get to talk about you and how your body is reacting when, you know, it's such a long period of time versus we do 30 days or 60 days or whatever.
Yeah. So so there are lots of ups and downs. Mostly in terms of physical energy. So so I might feel relatively good energy, let's say in the morning, and then it gets down in the afternoon, and then in the evening I can feel again another surge of energy. So so mostly in terms of physical energy, also in terms of mental states. But mental states, you know, I meditate every day, and I think that it is, in comparison to how it was before me starting with this liquidarian lifestyle, now it's much better. You know, it's in terms of focus, in terms of mental clarity and things like that. But in terms of physical energy, because for example, I do feel that I mentioned it to Rory, I still haven't found the balance between emotional satisfaction from drinking and not to drink too much, not to overwhelm the body. Because on one hand, I like tastes, I like drinking emotionally, but on the other hand, I find myself almost every day that I overdrink, and you don't feel it right away. Like I feel it, you know, I might feel it even 3 hours later, but I feel that it's too much. You know, I go too much to the bathroom, and I really feel my energy consumed by too much drinking. So I do have my challenges. And in terms of detox symptoms and other things, yeah. So for example, in the beginning, I had more than now, but you know, I like small, like bad breath, you know, for example, and things like that. Now it is ceasing, but in the beginning it was like that. And also energetics ups and downs, different periods of more mental clarity, less mental clarity. So you might call all those detox symptoms.
Thank you for sharing. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Therefore, I say that it's a journey for me. But I think that in general, my state now is better than it was before getting onto this liquidarian journey, especially considering the fact that prior to before becoming liquidarian, I experimented with raw foods for between 4 and 5 years, I would say. And prior to that, I was really addicted to coffee prior to raw foods. So I would really live on stimulants, particularly on coffee. You know, I couldn't imagine my day like with enough energy without coffee. So the very fact that I'm without coffee now and I can function, it's a great achievement for me, even so many years later.
Well, Arik, it sounds that you have adrenal weakness, especially people who were on stimulants. Well, first of all, you have to want to be on stimulants to begin with because you have adrenal weakness, right? That's why you need the boost. And then those stimulants continue to destroy the adrenal glands even further. And I don't know if you're open to taking herbs, but your energy levels would really be helped, and also emotional state if you started taking adrenal herbs. I don't know if you're open to that, but that would be really, really useful. And I saw somebody posted a question also that they didn't have energy or mental clarity, and another person responded that it's because they're too toxic and just to not do juices. And I disagree, because all of my clients, I anticipate that when they go on a solid food vacation, that they're gonna be deflated. They're not gonna have energy. Yes. Because they're going to remove all the stimulants. But there is a remedy for that. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be on juices. It just means that you have to support your adrenal glands. Yes. So I prepare my clients before they even go. For 2 months, we do unloading, stopping eating certain foods. Yeah. You're taking adrenal herbs. You're preparing yourself. And as you go into the juice feast, you continue to take the herbs. And I'm talking people who live the most conventional lifestyles and eat the worst foods, ever had a problem and stayed on juices for 90 days and never felt tired, never felt mental fog. It's because of the adrenals. Yes, I am open to that. But in fact, I would love to take it in the form of teas, if such thing exists, because I love drinking tea in general, like not regular tea, but herbal teas and stuff like that. So is it possible to find something like that, to find some kind of teas that would support adrenals? I'm sure. I mean, the ones for you, since you need energy, would be rhodiola and Siberian ginseng, also known as eleuthero. Those would be the two herbs that I would most recommend for adrenal function, for more of a boost. I'm sure you can find them either loose herb that you can just brew as a tea. Yes. Because I buy mine as in powder form. I mean, you can still what you can do is you can distill the powder or make your own tincture where you distill it with you would use alcohol obviously for this, but then later you can burn off the alcohol. So this way you would still have a liquid. Yes. Right? So it would take to make a tincture, it takes about 2 months to prepare because you have to let it sit in that alcohol solution. Yeah. So that the power of the raw herb gets drawn out. And then you can add it to your juices or whatever. I'm sure some of these can be found as teas. You can look into that. Yes. But teas are always weaker. Yeah, I know. I remember you shared this. Yeah. Because you're already cooking it and you're not, heating it kills some of the power. And also, just in general, you don't get as much power out of the plant as you do with distilling it with alcohol. Yeah, but I know that Siberian ginseng, they sell it in capsules, and then you can just open the capsules and add it to juices or something like that. So would that be good? Oh yeah, well I don't take capsules. I avoid capsules because I don't think it's good for the body to have to digest it. I buy most of my herbs in bulk. They just come in powder form, and then yes. I mean, I wouldn't consume capsules as well. I would just open it and put the powder in the. Yes, you can do absolutely. Yes. So you're saying it's rhodiol, the name of the plant? Rhodiola. It's rhodiola. RHODIOLA, rhodiola rosea. And Siberian ginseng. It's also known as eleuthero. That's ELUE, I think, RO. And also
Okay.
things, you know, like saw palmetto or he shu wu, which is the Chinese herb, is also very good for strengthening the adrenals.
Okay, yeah, I will inquire into that. Okay, thank you very much, Ivana.
You're most welcome.
Yeah. Okay, guys, so I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so, so much. You're amazing, and happy fasting to everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Ari.
Thank you, Arik. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.